In a significant development, North Korea's leader Kim Jong Un has reportedly selected his 13-year-old daughter Kim Jong-un as his heir. The move comes after Kim Jong-un's growing public presence at key events, including international visits and appearances at military parades. Despite the country's traditionally patriarchal society, Kim Jong-un's daughter seemed poised to take on the leadership role, with signs pointing her to increasing involvement in policy discussions. The decision has raised questions given the family's preference for male heirs and the youth of Kim Jong-un. We are now being joined by Dr. Sanjay Kumar, who's a journalist who's joining us from South Korea. Thank you so much for joining us here today on NewsX World. How significant is that Kim Jong-un, reportedly 13 years old, has been made the face of future leadership, challenging traditional male-dominated successions?
Well, in politics, nothing happens by accident. We have to understand this. And there are three factors which I see is working here. Number one is optics, second is ideology, and the third is the need of the North Korean regime. So when I say optics, I would like to recall and bring to your attention that this is not a new thing which is coming out in picture right now as designation or what the National Intelligence Agency of South Korea is reporting. It is happening step by step. If we see last few months, we could see that Kim Jong-un was continuously attending state events. She was even going to places of political significance, even the party, Workers' Party events, and even in some cases, she was following the state visit of Kim Jong-un as well. So this should be seen as optics when it comes to North Koreans' way of administering the things and the regime's approach of executing their plans and future, or you can say the establishment of new leadership. That is the optics version. The second one is ideology. She was not just visiting state events, but even she was visiting some places of eternal importance, where their leaders, the North Koreans, they really kind of worship their leader like anything. And she had been visiting some places such as, which establishes Juche ideology. So there is an ideological establishment through which Kim Jong-un had been repetitively being brought into picture. And then the third one is the need. In current times, all the activities, if you see, it is forcing the North Koreans to come up with some sort of a second line of leadership in the regime. So it is a strategical tactics to uphold the strength of the regime, and that is why I think Kim Jong-un is trying to bring this second leadership and to establish the fourth generation of the regime. No matter, she is just 13 years old, but it takes time, step by step. But yes, one thing we can see here, which is very little uncommon, is that even Kim Jong-un was brought very late. But in case of Kim Jong-un, she is brought into picture at a very early phase. This is the only difference. But if you understand from these three angles, it would help you to understand very easily.
And in what ways could Kim Jong-un's increasingly public role and visibility, including state media appearances and high-profile events, be part of a broader political strategy by Kim Jong-un?
Especially, this is a modus operandi of the regime and the leaders and the close advisors and the close aides of Kim Jong Un, who keep coming up with this kind of strategies. And this is not just limited to, I mean, the modus operandi is not just limited to ICBMs or nuclear tests or recalibrated and what to say, like recalcitrant approach of dealing with some countries such as Japan and South Korea. I think those advisors and those people behind, they are deliberately doing it to establish her in the domestic politics, as well as to motivate the people for leadership, for new leadership. That new leadership is not the leadership of time being, but second track of leadership. So this is also a strategy. And from diplomatic perspective, the North Korea is not, in recent days, they have not voiced any anger against US if we closely see. So on one side, they are trying to show that they are ready to, not ready, but at least they are not reluctant to talk to the US, but considering South Korea as enemy.
I'm
Since
really sorry,
2023.
Dr.
So this is a strategy.
Sanjay Kumar. It's been lovely speaking to you, but we have just come in with some breaking news. A magnitude 6.6 earthquake